Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. It's Thursday, October 10th, 2024, and these are your Unbiased Updates. Hurricane Milton barrels across Florida. This morning, millions of homes are without power. Relentless rain and tremendous wind gusts continue, and the damage is catastrophic. We'll have the latest developments. And Israel gets set to strike Iran after last week's Iranian missile attack. What Israeli leaders say to expect in the days ahead.
From the Straight Arrow News Studio, bringing the stories that matter to you from across the United States and around the world, these are today's Unbiased Updates.
Hurricane Milton is hammering Florida and moving east after making landfall as a Category 3 storm in Siesta Key near Sarasota Wednesday night. The storm has since weakened to a Category 1, but it has knocked out power to more than 3 million homes and businesses and caused widespread flooding. Milton dropped about 16 inches of rain on St. Petersburg. That's a 1 in 1,000 year rainfall for the area. Multiple fatalities have been reported in St. Lucie County from a tornado outbreak ahead of Milton. At least 27 tornadoes were reported. Tampa is seeing flash flooding throughout the city, with some emergency services suspended in the Tampa Bay region. The National Weather Service is reporting some residents in Pinellas County had to be rescued from floodwaters as high as their waist after Milton passed through. In what one storm chaser called a surreal moment, Milton's wicked winds tore the roof off Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, the home field of Major League Baseball's Tampa Bay Rays. There is debris now scattered inside. The stadium was not being used as a shelter, but according to the Tampa Bay Times, it was being used as a staging site for workers who arrived in the area to deal with the storm's aftermath. A crane that was on top of a high-rise there came crashing down. So far, no injuries have been reported in connection with either incident. Recovery efforts are starting to get underway in Florida counties where Milton has already come and gone, but the state is still seeing heavy rains and whipping winds in places such as heavily populated Orlando. Well, you talk about daunting. The Sunshine State has its work cut out for it when it comes to recovery, with 2 storms to clean up after. Many communities were still reeling from Hurricane Helene about 2 weeks ago. They are now forced to start the process over again, while others take it on for the first time. As questions increase about whether FEMA has enough staff and funding to respond to the storm, President Joe Biden has promised the federal government will step in as needed.
So my final message tonight is to the people of Florida and all the impacted states. We've got your back. We've already approved emergency declarations for Florida. We have thousands of federal personnel on the ground. We've staged and are ready to go. We have 20 million meals, 40 million liters of water. At my direction, the Secretary of Defense, Austin, has pre-positioned search and rescue teams, helicopters, as close to the storm as possible, so they're ready to conduct life-saving missions.
FEMA Administrator Deanna Criswell has also said the agency is prepared to support every state affected by the massive back-to-back storms. Turning to the presidential campaign, as Election Day is now just 26 days away. Both campaigns turned their attention to pivotal swing states on Wednesday. Former President Donald Trump holding 2 rallies in Pennsylvania, including in Scranton, the hometown of President Joe Biden. Later in a speech in Reading, he urged his supporters to turn out.
And all I want is one thing. Because we're going to do this, you have to go out and vote. That's all I want. You don't even have to give us any money. That's a pretty good deal, right? Just vote. Vote for all of us. You're not voting for me. You're voting for all of us. We're going to save our country. It's being run by incompetent people that have no idea what the hell they're doing.
It was the vice presidential candidates making stops in Arizona, where early voting is underway. Donald Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, also encouraged people to get out to vote early. Meantime, the Democratic vice presidential nominee, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, delivered a speech at an event for military and veterans' families on the importance of the election.
So the issue is, and people say, well, making everything political. Look, it's not about politics. It's about basic human decency. It's about leadership and character. It's about delivering for those folks. Rather than spending all your time trying to tear people down and divide us, we need President Harris to be there to make sure you're uniting us, to find solutions together, to work across the aisle.
Vice President Kamala Harris is scheduled to visit Arizona today, and former President Trump will hold a rally there on Sunday. Now to the latest in the Middle East. The Israeli Security Cabinet is set to vote today on its response to Iran's ballistic missile attack. That's according to CNN. President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last night, their first call in weeks, but the White House did not give any details on Israel's planned response to Iran. Earlier in the day, Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said the response would be, quote, lethal, precise, and surprising. Netanyahu has promised Iran will pay for the missile attack, while Tehran has said any retaliation would be met with destruction. This all comes as Israel launched new strikes against the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon on Wednesday night. The U.S. has said it supports Israel going after Iran-backed targets like Hezbollah and Hamas. The Biden administration has tried unsuccessfully to stop the conflict from escalating and has called on Israel not to hit Iranian nuclear sites. Meantime, fears the U.S. will get pulled into a wider war in the region continue to grow. Earlier on Unbiased Updates, we spoke about a severe storm in the form of a hurricane. Now we turn to another type of severe storm, a solar one. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has issued a severe geomagnetic storm watch for Thursday into Friday. This solar storm is currently a level 4 on a scale of 1 to 5, with a potential for reaching 5. The alert Wednesday came after an outburst from the sun was detected earlier in the week. NOAA says the storm could temporarily disrupt power and radio signals. The agency has notified FEMA, as well as operators of the American power grid, power plants, and satellites to take precautions as parts of the nation continue to deal with devastating weather. The solar storm could also produce colorful auroras tonight across the country, with the northern lights reaching as far south as Alabama. Finally this morning, have you heard? McDonald's is bringing a big twist to its signature Big Mac sandwich, switching out the beef for chicken. Starting today, the fast food chain is releasing its Chicken Big Mac nationwide, giving its flagship menu a poultry version for all American customers for the first time since the Big Mac's debut in the late 1960s. The Chicken Big Mac is following a trend in the industry that puts more emphasis on chicken options. According to the USDA, chicken consumption has been on the rise in the country over the past several decades, while beef consumption has decreased. McDonald's itself confirms it sells more chicken products than beef. But for all you traditional Big Mac fans out there, don't worry. McDonald's says the original 2-all beef patty option is not going away, and the chicken version is only available for a limited time, as long as they don't mess with the special sauce. Those are your unbiased updates for this Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. For all of us at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a great day.